Thank you. So my name is Rafal, and I'm Chief Forestry Officer at Foros, and thank you very much organizers for organizing such an inspiring event and letting us present about our company and how we want to unlock forestry for climate. So we all know that the forests are very important for the climate change mitigation efforts, and around 30% of necessary climate mitigation can be delivered by natural climate solutions. And we also know that 80% of the potential CO2 removal depends on forest management and use of forest products. So how forest can contribute? Sustainable forest management. We can increase use of the wood-based products. We can replace fossil fuels, concrete, steel, asphalt, all these different things. We can use the wood for the bioenergy, especially residues produced during the lumber production that they can be burned as a side product. Of course, natural hazard management that the first presenters were discussing today, but also we can use afforestation and increase forest area. So, in order to use the forest in the best and efficient way, there are some prerequisites. And then now let's focus on some figures. So imagine all forests of the world, and only 5% of all forests in the world, all 5% of the global forest cover are plantations. And those plantations deliver over 30% of the global roundwood production. So roundwood is basically when you cut down the tree and this tree goes to the pulp and paper production or lumber and so on. And according to some scientific studies, if these 5% of the plantations are managed properly, they can deliver 2/3 of the global roundwood production. So we need efficient use of the forest. We cannot leave the forest neglected or unutilized. And now imagine you have to buy a forest. Now it's our story. Imagine that I'm giving you today 1 million euros and I'm telling you that you have to invest in forestry. And what happens? You have probably a lot of questions if you are not in this business. Where you will buy the forest, which country to select, which species, which consultants you should maybe use, what is the due diligence process. Imagine that you want to invest abroad outside Scotland, then you have even more questions. It's impossible. There are some language barriers, legal issues, all cultural differences. So all these all these questions basically relate to two things. One is like the transactional costs and the management costs. And of course, these costs impact your returns on your investments. And also sometimes make your investments impossible. So to answer these all questions is Foros. So it's our company. And I will tell you now shortly how. So basically, we create a digital forest investment and management platform that you can buy the forest land with one click, basically. You go to our platform, you select, and you are participating in the auction. So you are bidding for the forest that you selected. The platform is in English, so you don't have any problems. Everything what is on the platform is done by us behind the scene. So we do the due diligence process, we talk to the seller, we do all the legal aspects, we check the legal status of the property and so on. Then it's not a big issue to maybe buy forest, but also you have to grow and manage it. So these questions where you will sell your timber, how to get a certificate and so on. So we also create our platform to help you with this. So by having your forest on our platform, you can basically select the service providers who will do the thinning for you or who will do the final cutting and all other services related to, for example, certification and so on. Then if you are net zero company or a responsible investor and you are interested in insetting, not offsetting, just buying the carbon credits. So if you are interested in insetting, so it means that you are reducing your carbon emission through your own supply chain. Then you can also make impact because our platform also reports different ESG metrics regarding the carbon storage, carbon sequestration, growth rates of your forest, how many forests are protected, and all various, you name it, basically. And then, of course, you are getting the benefits. So in this solution, we are helping you to sell the wood to the wood industry, and also maybe discuss with you the strategy, how you want to develop further. So we are founded in 2017, Vilnius-based digital forest investment management platform. So the company is based in Lithuania, where it started originally. So our mission is basically to, shortly speaking, bring capital to forestry and make these plantations or like the managed forests efficiently used. And we want to make this market also transparent, liquid. So that's also when you have like the transaction platform that you can buy and sell your forest if you want to exit, but also reduce the transaction and management costs that I discussed. We are present in Lithuania and Latvia, and we are expanding to other Baltic states, Finland next month. And also we are planning to expand to United Kingdom, USA, and other places as well. We got already 1.2 million euros of the seed investments from 3 different venture capitalists. And this funding is only for our own international development, because our model is already self-sufficient. So we can spend this money to go to abroad. And then our platform is aggregator business model. So it's like a big, like a Uber, that we are taking the intermediary transaction fee platform for every service that you order, or when you are buying the forest. However, we don't charge any seller's fee when you want to sell and exit from the forestry. And also we don't charge, what is different with us, we don't charge any forest management annual fees per hectare of your managed forest and so on. So this is also like, our mission is also to improve the returns in forestry in order to attract more investors from net zero companies and also individual and institutional investors who want to invest in this asset class. So we have already some traction. During the last 4 years, we witnessed more than 5,000 hectares was transacted on our platform. These forests were worth more than 25 million euros. We had around 1,000 successful auctions and approximately 110 bids per auction. So we got quite interesting interest in this solution. And then we have a very dedicated and talented team. Here you can see our C-level team. You can see that there are some people with the forestry experience, but also we have a lot of experience with the real estate markets, also marketing, and also we have a very strong IT team that is helping us to build the platform, and they have experience from the mobile banking, e-commerce, biometric systems, and so on. We are more than 25 people and expanding to bigger numbers soon. So thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer all your questions. Here you can find my details, or you can find me on the LinkedIn, so we can be in touch. Thank you.
Brilliant, Rafal. Thank you. So it's interesting in terms of, there's 2 things, because programs like this is also about joining the dots and people in cohorts and seeing where the linkages are. And I remember in whether it was one of your pitches or your documents, you're talking about which trees to fell, which ones should to cut down, and which ones should leave there. And it struck me that if you're doing that, then what's happened to those trees is their waste biomass that then could link in to one of our other companies, which we heard from yesterday, Mash Makes, which takes waste biomass and converts it into hydrogen. So it's more an observation that this is the fascinating thing about this program, is joining the dots between the companies. And I wrote it from Mash is in the back there. So anyway, that was just an observation that came to mind. And that's the purpose of one of the purposes of these programs, is to join those dots.
Yep.
So has anyone got questions? I've got a few more questions, but is it?
No, just a short comment. I completely agree, and I was talking already to our friend, and that they are developing different hydrogen and so on. This is, of course, not the role of our company, but this is also the way where forest sector is going, that we can use the most and the most optimal our resources. So there is always different byproducts in forestry that basically 100% of the material can be utilized in the managed forest. And by doing so, as I said before, if we are managing our forest resources efficiently, we can also protect our forests that are more valuable from the ecosystem services.
Brilliant. Guilherme, you had your hand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Rafal, on your presentation. And my question is, do you see any regulatory challenges for your business model? So I understand that you got this vision and that you could operate this business model in different countries. But say, do you see that any potential countries could say, no, okay, we're not accepting these kinds of negotiations or foreigners, for instance, trying to manage our forests here? Is that a problem of concern that you see on the short term coming?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So our business model, of course, works in those markets that are like where you have like any transactions in the forest properties, and the markets that are clear and also like relatively safe for the investors who want to invest in the country, and their law will not change. So we also want to like encourage the governments that they can create such markets, that they don't put like any limitations, because as far as I know, even if the foreigners invest a lot in the Baltics, according to our study, more than 1 billion euros will be invested in the next 5 years in the Baltics, in the Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and also Finland. So we also want to show the governments that, okay, you can bring the foreign capital to the countries, but the forest will be always there. So the forest is not moving out, right? And by having the extra capital from foreign investors who want to, or the net zero companies, there's of course a lot of benefits in the job creation, using the neglected forest, and so on. So from the perspective of the forests that were neglected, and they are not like with any high ecosystem services, they can be better managed, and they can help the country to transition from their fossil fuels towards more like renewable resources that were wood and forestry is.
Brilliant, thanks. Oh, Josh, yeah.
I wanted to clarify some things. In the scenario you gave us at the beginning, where we had £1 million and we were looking to invest in forests, whose role is it in your thing to identify those forests? Do I come to you with a forest and say, what's this one worth and what's that one worth, and you tell me? Or are you picking the forests and saying, this, out of all the forests for sale, and saying, these are the ones that have a good return? I'm just not quite sure in the model who's identifying the forests themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So basically the sellers are coming to us who want to sell their properties. And then of course we are discussing with them what is the value of their forest. So we always, we have we developed our own forest value calculator that gives a fair market price, right? Or we always discuss with the forest owner that is the best price that he's putting the forest on the auction, because when he will put like the very high price, nobody will buy it, right? So he has to put like the market price, and has a lot of like attention from the investors who are overbidding. So it's also like our platform is helping forest owners to maximize its benefits, because currently, as you know, in different markets, it works that you have usually consultants, and there's only like one buyer, one seller. However, we have now one seller and a lot of potential buyers who just enter the platform and see the forest and all details about it from the independent party. So we are not also like consultants where you have like a lot of conflict of interest when consultants, for example, work for forest growers and timberland companies, but also in the same time for the wood industry. So this is also like our independence and transparency here is very important.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, Rafal, your 10 years in forestry economics, as I saw up on your screen, clearly shining through, as with all our companies, real in-depth expertise. Rafal, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.